Hello everybody, how's it going? This is Tommy Lee here. Welcome back. Today is day 6 of 21 days to 2021. And my mission and goal and assignment to share 21 short videos with positive and meaningful information that's just had a profound impact upon my life. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you or anyone you know, have you gone through, or do you know somebody that's going through a midlife crisis? Or maybe perhaps they're experiencing some kind of a COVID-19 fatigue? Well, I want to tell you something. It's just all in your mind, and I'm going to prove it to you. You know, when I was 25 years old, I met some very successful people. Some of my first mentors is Cliff and Dave Braun out of LA, California. And Cliff is a best-selling author of that book called Social Marketing. You should definitely check it out. And even at a very young age, he taught me about this one little chart that made such a big difference in my life, of how people start, peak, and end up in the same place. And if you look at kind of like our timeline, you know, we're all born and we pop out and we have a life. And then, of course, I checked the statistics on Google, and roughly about 100% of us are going to die, right? And we all start off life in that, you know, motor sensory phase. And I'm not trying to get all technical into the Piaget's stages of personal growth and psychology and development of the cognitive mind. But, you know, when you're very small, you have no concept of money, and you crap your pants. And if somebody doesn't love and care and feed for you, you die, you know? And then you move on to your 3 to 7 years old, where, you know, you don't really have a memory yet, you know? I mean, when you're really young, if it ain't in front of your face, it doesn't even exist in the world. But now we have a memory, and we start, you know, being able to compare and have abstract thinking. And 7 to 11, you know, we really start leading into an identity phase where we hit adolescence, and we start learning what we like and what we don't like. And maybe you got a little bit of a concept of money here. Maybe you have an allowance, or you get your first job. And this whole time, we're just kind of eager to get older, right? I mean, you just want to be 15 so that you could get your driver's license. I remember you want to be 18 so that you could be an adult, and everybody in Hawaii wants to be 21 so you can obviously start drinking alcohol and your parents take you to Las Vegas, right? But after 21, guys, I mean, what is there really to be eager about? And you know, and as we move on from our identity phase into more industrial in our 20s and 30s, you know, money starts becoming really apparent, you know, and it's all about how much money you make, because, you know, your money is not that money's everything, but it determines the house that you live in, and the education that you get, and the lifestyle that you live, the food that you eat, the car that you drive, the clothes that you wear. And it's just, you know, a part of life. And a lot of us become parents at this phase, right? So, you know, you got all these added expenses. A lot of people take on a mortgage, and they've got all these things going on. But we're very eager. And right about here, right in the middle, at about age 40, not everyone, but a lot of people, we go into this something called a midlife crisis, right? And you start getting closer to death than you are from life. And you start hitting the brakes on things, and you start seeing a decline in your health. And, you know, sometimes you get a little cut or a bruise, and 2 weeks later, and it's still there, and you're like, oh my God. You know, when you're over here, you got the Wolverine heel factor, and after 40 years old, you know something is hurting for weeks or months, right? And you become very uncoachable leading into this wisdom phase, because you're a parent. So we have that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? And money's important, but as you start getting into your 50s and your 60s, and I'm really paraphrasing here, but money is less important. We start realizing that you can't take it with you. And when we get into our 70s, 80s, 90s, and above, you're that legacy phase, right? Where money is not important at all. That's why you see a bunch of grandparents who are always spoiling their grandchildren, okay? Because they want them to have a lifestyle and have the things and experiences that they never had when they were growing up. And of course, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, we start shrinking. You might even hit fetal stages in the very end of your life. You're crapping your pants, and somebody needs to feed you and care for you and take care of you, or you die just like a baby. You know, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it's this 40 years old where we start looking at things in a total different perception. We go from eagerly trying to get older and until starting to be resistant to age and watching our health and watching what we eat, right? And a little bit wiser, you know? And so what you've got to do, the secret is to cheat the sands of time, you know, is to hang around people that are in that wisdom phase, in that legacy phase, because they can teach you about how it is at their point in their life, and you can start applying some of those strategies at a very young age. You know, and I'm here to prove it to you that it's all in your mind, because, you know, 40 years old is the kind of when a lot of, not everyone, but a lot of people hit that midlife crisis, quote unquote. But did you know in 1905, the average life expectancy for women was 50 years old, and for men it was 47.3 years old. So midlife crisis wasn't 40, it was 25. And people got married when you were 15, 16, 17. I mean, if you made it to 21, 22, they would look at you like, dude, you gonna be single forever, right? When you gonna get hitched? And if you ask a child or a teenager today, hey, it's 17 years old, you better get married soon, they'll look at you like, you're crazy, right? Because of medical science, you know? And that's how we know it's all in our mind. You know, it's a figment of your imagination. It's a matter of perception of the clock. And Deepak Chopra, who is a you know, a guru on spiritual enlightenment and health, you know, he talks heavily about these things, about the aging. There's 3 kind of age that you have, and a lot of people, I mean, if I share with you guys my yearbook picture right now, some of you guys wouldn't believe, you know, I mean, compared to a lot of my friends and peers and people are my age, you know, they look a lot more aged than me, and they're like, Tommy, what the heck are you drinking? Or do you have a Peter Pan syndrome? But I learned at this young age that you have 3 ages. Number 1 is your chronological age. It's the day that you're born. And there's a day that you die, right? And that's, you can't do nothing about, you can't change that. The second one is your metaphysical age. You know, your bone density, your red blood cell count, your white blood cell. I mean, technically, when your heart stops beating metaphysically, like, you done, right? That you're done. And that's the one that matters. But the third one is the one we have control over, and that's our mental age, or your perceived age, you know? And a good example of this is my grandma. You know, my grandma, all the way up until she was 91 years old, used to walk from my mom's house in Manoa up the hill, 1.5 miles down to McDonald's to hang out with the seniors, which is what a lot of seniors do, drink coffee, whatever, and then walk all the way back home at 91 years old, stop by the Manoa pool and swim 1 mile. Guys, I wouldn't even make 1 lap probably, I'd drown. Swim 1 mile and then walk all the way up that hill, even at 91 years old, guys. And in her mind, I'm telling you, she thought she was maybe 50, all the way into the very end. Of course, she had a mental decline and metaphysical things took over, but she led an amazing life. And one thing I learned from her was that attitude of gratitude. And she didn't sweat the small things. In fact, to be honest with you, she didn't even sweat the big things. I remember there's one time, a few years ago, where we got robbed. Our house in Manoa got robbed, and for like the 7th time in her life. And she was kind of upset in the morning. Oh, the nerve of those people and whatever. And I remember coming back in the house when I was a kid and say, hey, Grandma, aren't you mad that we got robbed? Or mad? And she's like, why? And I was like, because we got robbed. And she had like forgotten about it by lunchtime. And she said, well, they probably needed that stuff more than we did. And it was things like, you know, jewelries and stuff. So I'm just telling you guys right now, you can look at your life in a different lens. And I hope that all of you guys get this stuff, because it's really made a big impact for me when it comes to aging, or when it comes to handling problems. You know, is really, what is your perception of time? And are you treating time with the right respect, right? There are 2 tools that we like to use. One is a microscope and one is a telescope. And obviously a telescope helps you see really far into the future. And a microscope is the little day-to-day operations and method of operation of what you're doing on a daily basis. And when you hit a problem, the best thing to do to make it shrink or not seem so bad is to take a step back and use your telescope, guys. Yeah, COVID-19, it sucked this year. You know, we're right on the cusp of a vaccine and all these things, and I promise you guys, it's not gonna last forever, okay? But you just gotta look at that little window upon you. I mean, people have been through, you know, some pretty crazy things, guys. You know, my grandma got sent to an internment camp when they were in Seattle, Spokane, Washington, and they got their house taken away during World War II, and all of their bank account and money, and I mean, literally got zeroed out, guys. And you know, COVID-19 happened, world wars happened, Vietnam happened, there's so many, 9/11 happened, there's other sicknesses that have hit us. In 2009, the H1N1 swine flu affected 60 million people, right? I tell you guys, there's Spanish flu in the early 1900s wiped out like 50 million people, guys. There was the bubonic plague, and it's not the first time in history that we went through a pandemic, okay? But you know, when we got locked down for 2 weeks, I seen a lot of friends that were freaking out. They were like, dude, 2 weeks lockdown, what am I gonna do? They didn't even know what to do with themselves. Guys, when I broke my spine 6 years ago, I literally spent a year in bed staring at a TV in ridiculous amounts of pain and loony on painkillers and opiates just to get through that ordeal. And I didn't know whether it was night or day. And people are like, 2 weeks, 1 month, I'm freaking out. I'm like, try being trapped in your own body for a year. And the second year was worse. It was frustrating. I had to learn how to walk again like a 1 or 2 year old. I had to reset back to here and learn the sensory motor phase and do all those things, guys. So I just want you guys to take those things with a grain of salt, you know. I got asked the question, you know, what's more important to you? If I gave you a scale, the last 7 days of your life or the next 7 days, and we were all at different, you know, time on our time of our life, on different quarters of our life, right? First half, second half. But I'm just telling you guys right now, if somebody came up to you and they gave you a scale and said, if you put the last 7 days of your life on one side of the scale and the next 7 days of your life on the other scale, which one is more valuable to you? Now, there's no right or wrong answer, but let me tell you guys something. If you had only 7 days to live, like the doctor said, that's it, you got 7 days, that's it. Would you let anyone tell you where to go or who to spend those 7 days with? Would you let anyone dictate to you what are you going to eat in those 7 days or what you're going to do in those 7 days? Of course not. That's ridiculous. Let me ask you a question. If you put it on the scale, hey, who knows? Your last 7 days of your life, you might be 104 years old and your back is more worse than mine. 107 years old, your bowels might not be working properly. 107 years old, you might be in a wheelchair. You might be bedridden. I don't know. If you ask me, I think the next 7 days of my life are 51% versus the 49. Right? A day is a day. So if you wouldn't let anyone tell you or dictate to you what you would do in the last 7 days of your life, why would you let anyone tell you what to do in the next 7 days of your life? When I was broken, spine shattered, both my ankles were shattered, crapping in a bucket of kitty litter for 10.5 months before I could even kind of make it to the bathroom myself by crawling on the floor. You know, you change your perspective a little bit, guys. You know, I didn't take a hot shower for 10.5 months, and it wasn't some cute nurse giving me a sponge bath. It was my brother. You know what I'm saying? So I tell you guys, like, you start to appreciate everything, like soup, like saimin, like pho, like, and I mean, just those little things that make every difference in the world. So no matter how bad things are in your situation right now, I could promise you guys there's somebody in a hella of a lot worse situation than you, and we just gotta be thankful for what we have. What we gotta do right now is treat every single day as if it was your last, because one of these days it most certainly will be, and we've all lost somebody special in our life by now, right? And maybe it was a grandparent, or maybe it was a best friend, or a co-worker, or somebody very close to you that meant the world to you, and just 1 minute they're here and the next minute they're gone, and we need to not take that for granted. We need to start treating our time, okay, our time, with the proper perception and proper respect, and not be so eager to get older. I'm not in a rush. I wish somebody told me back when I was younger, maybe not 5 or maybe not 10, but I wish they told me that time ain't stopping for nobody, and every second that goes by is 1 second closer to the final curtain, and I probably wouldn't have wasted so much time. I probably would have paid attention a little bit more. I probably would have done certain different things. So I hope that this video hit you in your face like it did for me at age 25. I decided to stop celebrating birthdays And some of you guys, well, why would you do that? Well, guys, I mean, I'm not telling you to do it, but it's worked for me. I mean, I'm still 25. Well, I just tell you guys right now, why do we celebrate our birthday? We all share one of 366 birthdays. There's, what, 6-7 billion people on the planet. What makes your birthday special? I mean, maybe if you're Thomas Edison or something, right? Or somebody famous that, you know, your birthday is pretty important. But to me, it's just a day, you know? And it's that chronological. If we start tracking that annual, I mean, people don't even understand why we celebrate birthdays, because back centuries ago, many babies died from premature birth and influenza and lack of medical science. So if that baby made it to 1 year old, I mean, luau, like kill a pig, like big party. And we still do it till this day. Baby makes it 1 year old, big party. And we party every single year on your birthday. And we love birthdays because as kids, you know, you got presents and you were the center of attention. You had cake, you had ice cream. I don't know, we weren't well off. I was lucky to have a birthday at McDonald's or Chuck E. Cheese's or Showbiz. That was a big deal, you know. And growing up, we always look forward to our annum. But reality is, after 15 and 18 and 21 years old, do you really want to like get older? Do you really want to like celebrate? I'm not saying don't celebrate your birthday. I'm just saying I don't. Because what if it had a profound impact on your lifespan? What if you didn't track or care about those things, and every day was a day and you treated every single day as if it was your last, with an attitude of gratitude, and you constantly increased the value of your time, and you cared more about helping other people than you did yourself, and in turn that brought you up. Zig Ziglar said, help enough people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. And I've dedicated my life to that, of showing people this. Can you guys believe it's like really terrible weather versus beautiful weather in Hawaii? And you wouldn't believe it, right? I mean, it's cloudy, it's overcast. I was like, man, this is gonna ruin my backdrop in the video, but actually it's not that bad. So no matter how down things are getting, guys, you know, you can appreciate where we are, that we're alive, and that we've got food in our stomach and clothes on our back, and great friends and people to surround yourself with. And if you don't have a good friend, I'm your friend. You know, there's no such thing as strangers, just friends we haven't met yet. And that's all we do, is we spread this beautiful paradise and aloha around the world, usually in front of a barbecue, and usually with some kind of a substance that makes you enjoy it even more. And there's nothing wrong with having just a little bit of fun in life as we're all growing through and creating our life story together. So I hope that this video really impacted you, or will impact you for the rest of your life. Chronological age, your metaphysical age, but most importantly, your mental, your perceived age, guys. I just went and took some blood tests. I do blood tests all the time. I thought after 6 years of taking all of these painkillers or opioids, of partying like I was a frat guy. I mean, we were partying since age, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, out of high school, all through, hey, college was the best 12 years of my life. I thought for sure, my liver's gonna be messed up, my kidneys are gonna be messed up, my cholesterol is gonna go through the roof. Nah, man, my blood's perfect, spot on. Kidney 100%, liver 100%. My cholesterol is better than it was before I got into my accident. Is it mental? I don't know. I think so. Every time I eat something, I really believe, I'm like, yo, this is fat-free. This is fat-free. This is healthy. This is like, I'm telling you guys, I really believe that. I never celebrate my birthday. My birthday is coming up. People have to like trick me into acknowledging the fact. I was like, oh yeah, you know, I mean, there's been times in the past I skipped right over my birthday, and I don't want to be mindful of it. So I don't know, maybe try it out. Try some of these things, because one of these days, guys, you're gonna realize real quickly that your #1 asset is your time, and once you spend it, it's gone forever. You're never gonna get it back. You can always make more money in life, but you can't make more time. So let's make today the most amazing day. Let's make 2021 the greatest year. I promise you guys, in the future videos, we're gonna crescendo up and lead to a game plan of adapting for change, of looking forward to doing a different process, and all of these things that I've picked up over the years that are gonna make a huge difference and help you to have the best 2021 ever. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Apologize that this video is almost 20 minutes long, but it's just a really important topic, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on day 7. Aloha!